I'm guilty of it. Overanalysis can become paralysis, and sometimes the easiest thing to do is to ask yourself the simplest questions to find the answers that you likely already knew. So, let's talk about it. Welcome to Outsider Information. In the new setup, we got a little bit more natural light coming in, got a nice little background that's got some fancy things in it, so if you are watching on video, be distracted. Try to see what you can find. And if you are listening to my voice, use your imagination because there's a lot of stuff happening back there now. And because of the table, the bar in the back, there's a good likelihood that you will make eye contact with one of the cats. So all that is happening. I'm your host, Brandon, and your strategic partner here with OIAS. As always, if anything resonates, give a like, subscribe, engage, get cozy, kick your shoes off. It's a Tuesday morning. We're doing this in real time. Drink of the episode is not my best work, but I had a bunch of tea ingredients left, and I started mixing things together. So, not my best. 2026, we're going to be a whole lot better with this as we refine these recipes for a bigger project. So, tart, floral, getting the job done for today. So what do we got? Story time. There was an article that I wrote, I'd say 2-3 months ago, Social Scientist's Guide to Networking, right? Bringing down your own barriers, being open to learning, and treating it like one giant social experiment. That is really what this has been the last 6 months. So while this version of the business has been alive really since May, it's been really a thing for the last 2 years. I've had some semblance of this going on since then. We moved here last year, and you've got to make a lot of fundamental shifts. It's a different market, different people, different industries. There was a whole lot to learn. And that's really what it was about the last 6 months especially, was how much information can I take in? How much can I learn from it, and ultimately, what do I want to do with it? My process, certainly from a research perspective, is infuriating to some because while it does act on precision at the end, it relies heavily on basically data mining and data dumping. You accrue as much information as you can, dump it onto a table like it's a mailroom, and then you sift through it. That is ultimately where that has gotten me to where I am right now. So this episode isn't going to do that for you, but it's going to hopefully get you closer to a thing. And we're just going to ask 5 simple questions to do it. So what do I need from you? If you've got the time, and I'm going to try to make this as quick as I can, listen twice. Active listening on the first one. Don't really think too hard. Just kind of go through the examples, listen to the questions. And then if you have a chance on the second one, that is where you are going to take your notes. Pause the video. Do what you can with it. Be benevolently selfish when you do an exercise like this. I am a believer that being selfish isn't inherently a bad thing. I think a lot of the times we give too much of ourselves and it takes away from the things that we ultimately want. This is about you, right? Do the work, do the exercise, and ultimately, hopefully, you get closer to something that you are looking for. All right. So again, 5 questions designed to spark some thought. So let's get into it. Okay. First one. What do you do for work? What is the title? Okay, it's a very basic question that we get asked all the time. And it sounds simple, but I want you now to forget the title and I want you to forget the job description. What do you do for work and how do you do it? Right? That question, if somebody were to ask you in a sentence what you do, what would you say? And then if they ask you for another sentence on how you do it, what would you say to that? Keep it basic in the interim. Is your job easy? Is it hard? Is the industry growing or shrinking? What are the factors that contribute to success or failure in the role or the job that you have? Pause for a second because there's a lot of information that's probably going through your head. All right. And there's not an easy answer even for the basic jobs, right? We say that with quotes. What you do is what you do, not what someone else tells you to do. There's a difference between the work that you're doing versus the work you're told to do. When you get into a conversation with somebody, oftentimes we're trying to find relatability. People want to understand that this is what you do and this is how it relates to me. People oftentimes attach labels. This is something that I detest about it, and I've worked very hard to be outside of those labels, those boxes, At times to my detriment, but also because sometimes things just get to exist. So that is what I mean by that. What you do is not what someone else tells you that you do. And how you want to relate that to other people, that is entirely up to you. Don't feel like you have to put it in a box so somebody understands it. Maybe they are not supposed to. Maybe they're not even smart enough to. Okay, that is where this thing goes. All right, second question. Why do you do what you do for work? Ignore the obvious. We all have bills, we all have obligations, and we need money to make that happen. That is not what this question is for. But to follow up on that, is the why you do the work that you do aligned with the what you do for work, right? Is your why aligned with your what? Simple it down. Understand those distinctions. We know what we're doing. We know how we're doing it. We don't often know why we're doing something, okay? What drew you to the place that you were working at? That is an important question to ask yourself. Was it something that aligned with you there? Is there something in your past that led you to doing the work that you're doing? Pause again, because that question in itself can be triggering. We all have various trauma responses to the experiences that we've had, certainly in a work context. The why is likely rooted in something deeper. And when I tie that to what I'm doing right now, I'm also going to weave in some of my own examples at the end of these questions to maybe help guide the process. My first career as a coach, and it's not all that different than what I'm doing now because it is predicated on the development of people. I got into coaching because I wanted to be the coach that I didn't feel like I ever had. That was my why. As I go into consulting, as I've worked with other businesses, I have made a career up until this point of cleaning up other people's messes. My goal as a consultant is to prevent the mess from being made so that there's nothing to clean up. That is why I do the stuff that I'm doing. See the pattern, see the threads. That is what I'm hoping that we try to connect here. All right. Okay, we're going to go to number 3. And the answers here, you could have no answers to these questions. You could have 10, right? You're going to start to see a lot of variance as we get into this. What do you like about your life? Just hold on that one for a second. What do you like about your life? What do you like about life in general? The follow-up to that, what do you like about your job? It's a deceptively hard question because a lot of us are hostages in the way that we work. Again, going back to earlier, we have to work because we need to live, we need to eat, we need to do basic things. I wouldn't say that there's a whole lot of freedom in the way that Americans work in particular because a lot of us are owned by our job because of the things that we have to do. But what do you like about your job? Location? Is it the freedom? My mom was a flight attendant who just retired, really happy for her. But she was a flight attendant because she enjoyed the freedom of not necessarily having a direct supervisor, of getting to travel, of getting to be around different people. Is it the people or is it the lack thereof? Do you enjoy the remote work that you have because you don't have to engage with a whole lot of people and you can be a cozy introvert? Think about the things that you like that go beyond just the pay, the duties, the nuances, right? You want to think about those. The piece beyond that. Do you have any hobbies? Notice the order that I asked those questions. We're all living, but we have to live to work. And as a result, we choose not to let ourselves do some of the things that we want. I don't advocate incorporating your hobbies into your work, but your hobbies are things that you enjoy, and it likely has a pattern effect on the work that you do. For me, I love a good story. I love hearing what people have to say, and I enjoy studying people. And I get to do all of those things with the work that I currently do. Now, I created that for myself, but at my core, the coaching, the research, the being around people, all those things tie together, and it allows me to be comfortable and effective with the work that I do. Okay? So those are the kind of trends and patterns that I want you to try to find. All right, so I'm going to be a little pessimistic on this one, but again, we're going to be precise with it. Broadly, what is the biggest source of your dissatisfaction right now? Okay. Where are the pain points with your job? And again, think critically. We can always say, I would like more money, I would like to work less, but is it a misalignment? Have you hit a ceiling? Does your job have a lot of pressure that maybe didn't exist in the past? What would relieve some of that pain? And again, I'm going to keep saying it, think beyond the easy stuff. Think beyond the money. What would be something that would relieve a little bit of the pain from those pain points? If you don't have that answer, go back to the things that you enjoy. As a consultant and a coach, both put you in a very pessimistic framework. And I'm already not Mr. Positivity, but it's something that you do need to be aware of the things that you don't like. When I left coaching, it was miserable. And as a consultant, when I take on any sort of an engagement, I try to be very cognizant of who I am doing it with and for those reasons. Because I don't want to be in a position where I am compromising the things that I believe at a core, which is people first. Okay, we're rounding out. Favorite question to ask somebody whenever I do something like this, or if I'm just meeting somebody, once we get past the ridiculous small talk that is networking, is what do you want to do? Not a tell me your dream sort of a question, but think. If you've done the exercise up to this point, if it's your second time, you probably have tons of data that you've written down. Now, what do you want to do with it? What are the patterns and the information? And maybe you are already doing that thing right now, but if you could be doing something else, what would it be? And how different would it be than what you're currently doing? How aligned is it with the thing that you are currently doing? Again, for me as a consultant, it gives me the freedom to find the things that I want. But the question I always ask myself is, how much do the businesses that I work with really care about their people, their most valuable asset? And again, as I take on assignments, the question that I want to make sure I have a clear enough answer on is that the work that I do isn't going to cause harm to somebody because they use the information that I give them in a negative way. Okay? So this is all to spark some thought. The part 2 to this is to really think and then write your answers down. The part 3 to this is once you have all that information, now you're going to do something with it. And that can look like a lot of things. This is where I will advocate for the use of AI. One of these chatbots is you can plug the information in and you can just have a back and forth with it. If you are in therapy or you're talking with somebody who's a mental health professional, you can talk about it to them with this. If you've got a friend or a person in your life and you just want to bounce some ideas off of them, do it with this. It's not a fixed exercise, and you are likely going to have branching down questions that come as a result of this, which is good, right? Thought is good. And again, it's not going to give you all of the answers, but it's going to get you closer to them. That has been my journey with a lot of things the last 6 months. And as we get to the end of the year, people are feeling a lot of things right now, a lot of emotions, a lot of thoughts, a lot of transitions. Give yourself a chance to go through it all and go through it all in a way that could be comfortable to you. All right. That's all we got. Like, subscribe, and engage if anything resonates. And yeah, can't save the world with anything that we're doing here, but doing our best to not make it a worse place. So happy Tuesday. Stay safe, stay sane. We'll see you next time.